to my channel. Today I have a really fun video. I did half of my face with drugstore dupes from Pinterest, and the other half of my face is with high-end makeup products. So can you guys guess right now which is the high-end side and which is the drugstore side? Let's get right on into it. I'm going to show you guys how I did this, so keep on watching. The left side of my face right here, I am going to be doing as the drugstore side, and the right side of my face is going to be the high-end side. So hopefully I remember which one is which so I don't mess this up. First one I'm going to do is primer. So I'm going to be using, for the drugstore side, the infamous Nivea Post Shave Balm on this side, and then the high-end side I'm going to use the Smashbox Oil-Free Primer. So I'm just going to pour out some of that Nivea Shave Balm, and I'm going to put that on the drugstore side, and you're actually supposed to rub this in until it gets tacky, and that's supposed to really make it work. So you're not just supposed to put it on and then leave it. To move on to the high-end side, and I'm going to use my Smashbox primer. So I'm going to take a bit of the Smashbox primer and apply it to this side of my face. So the next Pinterest dupe I'm going to be following is foundation, and I found two on Pinterest that were supposed to be comparable to each other. I love both of these foundations. I will just say that right now. They're both so good. Is the Milani 2-in-1 Conceal and Perfect. That's going to be for my drugstore side. And then for my high-end side, Clinique Beyond Perfecting. These are supposed to be dupes of one another. So let's see. So I'm just going to squeeze out some of that Milani foundation onto my Real Technique sponge, and I'm just going to blend that in. I love this foundation because it's like has really super thick, nice coverage, but it's not like too cakey or anything. Like, it blends out really nicely. I'm gonna try to do this on the side of my nose as carefully as I can without blending them in too much. So I think that's kind of halfway on my face. Would be probably easier to do this with a foundation brush to like kind of draw it. It's a little bit more difficult with a sponge to get really half of the face. For my high-end side, like I said, I'm going to be using the Clinique Beyond Perfecting foundation. I'm just going to put some of this on the back of my hand here, and then I'm going to take my beauty blender and just, actually, you know what? I'm just going to put some on my face. It might be easier. So the thickness of the foundation seems very similar to the Milani foundation. I would say the Milani one's definitely a little bit thicker than the Clinique. And I'm just going to blend it in with the beauty blender. This also might look a little strange because I think the Clinique foundation is lighter than the Milani. Like, you can see the Milani one is a little bit more yellow, so it's not like a perfect match with the Clinique foundation. But it's blending out just as nicely as the Milani foundation. And it's providing me with the same amount of coverage, definitely like a medium to full coverage. The next thing I'm going to be testing out dupes for is the eyeshadow primer, and the first one I'm using is for the drugstore side. This is the Wet n Wild foundation primer, and this is supposed to be a dupe for the high-end one, which is Urban Decay Primer Potion, and we're gonna put these two to the test. I'm gonna take that I'm gonna take that Wet n Wild primer and just apply it all over my eye. Definitely has more of like a thinner consistency, but this primer is super cheap, super affordable. I think it was like $4, so can't really go wrong with that. The high-end side, I'm going to be using Urban Decay Primer Potion, and yeah, this one's definitely a little bit similar consistency but slightly thicker than the Wet n Wild. For eyeshadows, I found two palettes that are very similar to one another, and the first one I'm going to use is the Demi Lovato Lovatics palette. Looks like this, and it is actually a dupe for Urban Decay Naked 2. So I'm going to match these up. I'm going to be taking the second shadow right here. It's the pinkier color, and I'm just going to apply that all over my lid. going to be taking the 7th color in on the Demi Lovato Levonics palette. It looks like that. And I'm just going to be applying this in my crease. For the outer V, I'm going to be taking the 8th color in, which is this brown shade right here. Ooh, right there. And I'm going to be using a fluffy blending brush, which is my favorite for the outer V, and I'm just going to buff out the outer eye and blend it a little into my crease. Next, I'm going to take the 3rd color right here, which is the matte shade of the palette, like the matte light shade, and I'm going to just pop that onto my brow bone. Just lightly blend everything. For eyeshadow for my high-end side, like I said, I'm going to be using Naked 2. And if you have not seen Naked 2, I would be quite surprised, but this is what it looks like. It's a really, really pretty palette. One of my favorites. You can see I've used up some of the colors. I've hit pan. So I'm going to take the comparable shades in Naked 2, and the first one to mimic that lid color would be Booty Call, which is that 3rd nude shade right there. It's one of my favorites. And I'm just going to apply that all over my lid with a fluffy brush. I'm sorry, a flat brush, not a fluffy brush. For the crease, I am going to take Snake Bite, which is this color right here. Yeah, crease brush. Then I'm going to take a clean blending brush, and I am going to go into a Busted, which is the 2nd shade to the end right there next to the black. And this is the comparable to the brown color we just used. It's not exactly the same, so I can't say they're really like too much of a dupe, but I think on the lid it definitely looks very similar when you open. For the drugstore side for eyeliner, I'm going to be using my Wet n Wild gel liner. It looks like this, and this is only about $3. And I'm just going to go in with a angled brush and do some winged liner. For the high-end side, I'm going to be using one of my favorite gel liner, Inglot number 77 black gel liner. It looks like this, and I'm going to be using this for my high-end side. The Inglot one is way more pigmented and jet black than the Wet n Wild, which is black but not as black as this Inglot liner. I'm just going to finish off by applying the respective gel liners into my waterline. Brows, I'm going to be using the NYX Tame & Frame, and I'm using the color Brunette. Looks like this. It's in a gel pot, and I'm just going to start to fill in my brows. For my high-end side, I'm going to be using Anastasia Beverly Hills in Dip Brow, and this is in the color Dark Brown. And I'm just going to take a clean brow brush. I'm just going to fill in. This one is definitely a bit easier to work with than the NYX. Mascara, I thought it would be fun to do a comparison between the drugstore version of a lash like fiber mascara, and then the high-end side, I'm going to be using my Unique mascara. So the first step is to apply a coat of the mascara. So I'm just going to apply that. Or the extensions, so I'm just gonna put these right over that mascara, and you could already see that it's really lengthening them, like the fibers when they attach on. Those fibers, you go back in with the mascara, and apply it over it. Outdated version of the Unique. I think they updated it, but I heard it's not as good as this one. And I'm just going to use this anyway. Back to the under eyes, and I'm going to be using out two concealers that are supposed to be dupes for one another. So the first one is NYX HD Photo Concealer, and this is supposed to be a dupe for Urban Decay Naked Skin, which is an awesome concealer that I really love. Blend this out. For the other side, I'm going to be using Naked Skin, and this is in the color Light Neutral, and I'm just going to do the same. The only thing is my Naked Skin is not anywhere as near as light in color as the color I have for the Photo Concealer. And I'm just going to blend this out. They definitely have like that similar thick texture, which I like. To set my under eyes, I'm going to be using the CoverGirl translucent powder on my drugstore side, and the other side I'm going to be using Laura Mercier in the Secret Brightening Powder. Awesome powder if you're looking for a lower end like drugstore powder to bake with. So using the popular Laura Mercier brightening powder for the other side. Gonna wait 5 minutes for that to set, and then I'm going to brush it away. Bronzing and contouring now, I'm going to be using two dupes I saw on Pinterest. This is the Smooth Skin Bronzing Face Powder in Sunny, and this is supposed to be a dupe for Benefit Hoola, which is a very expensive bronzing powder. So let's see how these two compare. So I'm just going to do Sunny first on my drugstore side, and I'm just going to contour with that. I've never seen it before. I really love Hoola. Been using this a lot lately. Just going to pop that in. Oh yeah, these are definitely dupes for one another. They look so similar. It's just Hoola is slightly easier to blend, as it should. It is like a $24 product, so I expect it to blend a little bit better than the NYC. Up is the blush dupes. I'm going to be using NYX Angel for my drugstore side, and this is actually only $2.50 right now on NYX's website, so if you guys want to pick this up, now is the time. You can tell this is well loved by me. This is like one of my favorite blushes, so I'm going to be putting that on this side. I just realized I'm actually doing this backward. I should have showed you guys the high-end product first and then the dupe. Oh well. The high-end side, I'm going to be using MAC Well Dressed. And you can see it's right here. Really pretty light pink color. Well Dressed on my cheeks. And actually, you know what guys? I think that Angel is more pigmented. Angel is just like one touch and you get a lot of pigmentation. You guys, the high-end product first, and this is MAC's Whirl. And then the Pinterest comparison to that product is NYX Lip Liner, and this is in the color Mauve. So I'm going to do this side. And honestly, guys, I must say, I like the NYX one better. It applies much smoother, whereas the Whirl lip liner is a lot more of a harder texture. Whereas with this one, I feel like it's so much easier to work with. So onto the lips, I'm going to be using, for my high-end side, MAC Kinda Sexy, and this is like one of my favorite colors, and I'm just gonna apply that to this side. For dupe side, I'm going to be using Bare It All by Wet n Wild. This is supposed to be the dupe. It just looks funny because they're not, like, they're similar, but they're not exact. Like, Kinda Sexy is definitely lighter. Can you guys see, like, the two different lip colors I have here? Kinda Sexy is much lighter and a little bit more peachier, whereas Bare It All is a little bit darker. So you can see it looks like I have like ombre lips, like darker to light, which actually looks kind of cool. Final step, which is setting my face, I'm going to be using Fix Plus on this side of my face as my setting spray, and this is one of my favorite setting sprays. So I'm just going to take my blush palette and just hide this side of my face. So, and then for the drugstore side, I'm going to take Wet n Wild Photo Focus Setting Spray as the dupe for Fix Plus, and I'm gonna again cover this side and just spray away. They're very, very similar. I think that Fix Plus makes your skin slightly dewier than this does. So overall, now that I'm looking at everything, it all looks very similar. Like the eyes look very similar, the brows, like everything did a really good job. The dupes look a lot like the high-end products. Can you guys tell the difference? Like, what do you think? Do you think this looks like the high-end side? I think everything looks really similar. High-end side, give you guys a look at that. And then this is the drugstore side. This was so fun to film. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you liked this video, don't forget to give a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed already, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'm going to put all my social media on the bottom of this and also after this video ends. Thank you guys again, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!